there, I'm Sean B.W. Parker, and I'm here to talk to you about my books, list them like the Amazon content provider that I am, creator. I've been publishing since 2014 till now. This year I've got another one coming out, but here is the one from last year, which was States of Independence, from pop art to art rock and beyond. And in it I talk about the influence that Oscar Wilde had on characters like Andy Warhol and Marcel Duchamp and things like this, but it's done in a list form of songs. So if you wonder why certain songs are controversial, relax, Frankie Goes to Hollywood, this kind of thing. I look into the culture wars, as we say now, of those times, and talk about those controversies as they were and what the songs really mean, what they meant, if they would still be allowed to be around today. So, yes. That's States of Independence. Here is Bean Soup from 2018, which was very much a pre-trial book for me. It's the sound of a nervous breakdown in 200 pages. It's just very impressionistic feelings, thoughts, poems of myself and other people, of going through that time of the culture wars, the Me Too movement, what was happening to the entertainment industry, and thoughts and observations on that in culture, with a brilliant design done by a friend in America, Holly. I like the design anyway. It's a bit handmade. Bean Soup. It's called Bean Soup because my childhood nickname is Bean, between Ben and Sean, which are my given names. I was called Bean as a kid, so Bean Soup. Beans in hot water. 2017 is Swimming Uphill, Absurd Theories. This is the closest thing I've done to a novel so far, and it's not so easy to just dip into as the other ones are. It's more of a consistent narrative, though the narrative might be hard to discern because it still has the cultural observations that I do. Quite a lot of it's in the third person through my character Anthony H. Wallstatt, who keeps cropping up. So he's in there quite a lot, as are observations of Chichester and Worthing and Sussex coast areas in general, and coming out of Istanbul, which we'll get into. So there's Swimming Uphill, also available on Barnes and Noble, I believe, or all those big posh publishing houses who don't have anything to do with me, I don't have anything to do with them. In the same year as 2017, we did Empire of the Mind 1, 2 and 3. This is, I think, 1. And I've got a poem or two in this, and there's other poets and writers from the Sussex coast in it. It's a locally based chapbook. Short thing with some wonderful little poems. It's always more fun to read things by other people in there, so it's like a compilation of various things, and there's the 3 of them. So if you like 1, you can get 2 and 3. Yes, Empire of the Mind. Also in 2017 was a busy year before legal issues got heavier. I published The Cougar and the Silver Fox, which is my attempt at something more light. It's an epic poem. It's very long for a poem, but it's also in big print. It's got beautiful illustrations by illustrator Claire Westwood, who is attached to the Pallant House Gallery in Chichester, which is, I'm very proud of it because it's completely different from anything else I've ever done. And it rhymes. It's a poem that rhymes. 2424. I'd read it, but buy it if you want. Devils of Bognor, published in 2016. Um, this was, it's a bit of a, it's not very long, it's a short book. There's a really big one, like the size of a vinyl album, and this one, size of a CD. This was published by Big Blake Productions, Big Blake Project, who put this one out, and I also did self-publish as well. It's it's a supernatural element to this, based on some things of the time, but it's nothing to do with devils. I like the name Devils of Bognor because it's sort of there's lots of interesting characters in that town. So I thought I'd include that as it explains inside why I call it Devils of Bognor, but it's not about bad people per se. It's about the atmosphere of a place, but within that are the usual observations of this of what happens to a seaside town in a time of austerity, which is, I suppose, the serious part. But nothing I do ever gets that serious. So it's just more observations of what austerity can lead to in certain situations like that. Devils of Bognor. Back to 2015. This one here is a reprint of the original, Genuflecting Before the Pork Barrel Demagogues, which is it's one that you can dip in and out of again. It's like a compendium of ideas and observations. This was my first book written completely in England after coming back from Istanbul and watching what was happening with the early stages of Brexit, David Cameron, people starting to rumble about Putin, and I just saw greed. So I thought I'd put greed into funky little paragraphs with those kind of observations that are going on all over the place, with a lot of pop music stories as well, reviews, things like that, because that's my old stock in trade, music journalist type person. So there's lots of reviews, lots of things like that, interspersed with culture war, pop culture. Seems to be my genre, I suppose. Back to the first one, which was Salt in the Milk, 10 Years in Istanbul, which was basically, right, I've come back from Istanbul in 2014 after 10 years, been deported for visa issues, overstaying my visa by 9 years. But we had a good time out there, and I did lots of interesting work. I thought I'd collect it all in this doorstop brick, and it's a big tome. Lots of interviews in it, scripts, plays, reviews, loads and loads of things. So 10 years of observations bundled together whilst I was trying to get used to being back in England. The first thing that I put out under Seraglio Point Productions, which is an indie publisher, and still available, still out there, and it's kind of been the biggest seller, I think. We don't know how many they sell, but it's been the most sort of talked about and reviewed 8 years ago. So there they are, all my books. Salt in the Milk, Genuflecting Before the Pork Barrel Demagogues, Devils of Bognor, The Cougar and the Silver Fox, Empire of the Mind 1, 2 and 3, Swimming Uphill, Absurd Theories, Bean Soup, this one's the hardback. A couple of these are in hardback, they're all in paperback, and States of Independence, From Pop Art to Art Rock and Beyond. The most coherent one, I suppose. What does coherent mean? Who knows? There you are. Thank you for listening to my pitch, my grift. Everyone's grifting, why can't I? Thank you. Bye.